Hi, Yusuf.
Hello, hi Malik.
How are you?
Good and you?
I'm good. All good, all good.
Good.
To kick things off, then,
Yep.
today's session is our fifth session in our Breaking E-commerce series. Before, I'd like to wish everyone Ramadan Kareem and the holy holidays for everyone who's watching us. This week's session, Yusuf, is session that has been recommended by our previous by our audience through our emails. Basically, it's on shipping and the effect of shipping on e-commerce businesses. For this, we know that you folks have um, been operating around this for a while now and are doing an amazing job at it, Yusuf. So, can you please go ahead and introduce yourself and wakilni?
Cool. Thank you, Awalshi. Thank you very much for suggesting this session, for inviting us for this. I think it's an extremely important topic when it comes to e-commerce, and sometimes it's a little bit either overlooked or thought of at a later stage while setting up the business. I'll tell you a little bit about Wakilni. We started Wakilni at the early 2016, and the basic concept originally was we were creating a concierge service. We never thought that we will turn into a logistics business that services e-commerce businesses. However, we found that there's a very big need. E-commerce was starting to grow. Back then, Instagram was not a big thing. There were like Facebook stores, etc. And we found that there was a need for servicing this kind of businesses. And this is slowly we built our understanding of what these businesses need. And this is how we've built Wakilni. Today, we cover all of Lebanon. And in the early of 2019, we expanded a little bit further than not just delivery services. Today, we also offer workspaces from the Wakilni Hub. We offer shelving, storage solutions, fulfillment of orders. It means we're able to pack the orders ourselves and ship them. So yeah, this is a little bit about Wakilni.
It's basically like you're trying to make sure all the points are connected, which is very
We're trying like to get people that are running e-commerce businesses don't want to worry about the logistics part. It's a very big headache. We understand that very well. And we're trying to create like a well-rounded service that covers all these parts that usually business owners don't want to focus on. They just want to hand it over, outsource it, and yeah.
I see. So yeah, I think this is a very important topic to educate our merchants. Basically, the whole breaking e-commerce idea is to educate merchants on how to successfully sell and grow online. And this is what we are planning to do through this session. So, and I'd like to ask everyone watching us to please send us questions as we go through the agenda of the session, because we will be answering your questions at the end. So kicking off with the agenda, the first point that we have set, Yusr, is how shipping can affect sales and marketing, or shipping for sales and marketing. There's a huge points that can, a large array of points that can come to mind. So what can you tell us about it?
Okay, so yeah, I totally believe that shipping can be a factor, a positive factor and a negative one in terms of sales and marketing. Especially like in e-commerce, just like any other retail, there's extremely high competition. Everyone sees everyone else's prices. Many people are selling very similar things, and delivery services and the shipping service can play a factor in making customers buy from one store versus another store. Things like advertising free delivery services or fast delivery services, and actually being able to know that the delivery will happen on time. These are all things that can be used in order to promote the business. Yeah, and there's also another like a topic that we always get asked about is how can these businesses offer or advertise free delivery services when in fact they're actually paying for the delivery service. And when we give a lot of advice to the businesses, as in you can offer free delivery services depending on the margins that you as a business have. So how you price your items, how much of the cost of the delivery do you cover yourself, and how much do you make your customers pay is also a factor. And knowing exactly how to advertise this is extremely key. Two businesses might be paying the same delivery fees. However, one can come off as more attractive to the customer if they know how to advertise it, and if they know really properly how to like how to cover part of this cost and how to charge this cost on others. Also, another thing that can be advertised is flexibility in terms of the delivery, whether it's in terms of timing. So if a business is working with a delivery company that is able to work long hours, or even cover weekends, or even sometimes cover holidays, that's an added value for the business. If the delivery service you're partnering with is able to offer flexible payment solutions, cash on delivery, credit card on delivery, that's also another added value. So the more flexible, or the more options that the delivery company is able to offer you, the more that you're able to offer the customers, and that can play into the different sales and marketing messages that you give out.
Yes, sir. There's a banner that I often see on e-commerce websites when I log into one that says free shipping for orders under, for example, $50. So what do you think of this tactic? Do you think this applies for like a small business, a business that has been running for a while? And what costs, how does it affect its operations?
Yeah. So usually it's the other way around. It's free delivery over $50, because so this is a little bit what I was getting into. Sometimes we notice that the online business, if it's really new and not very experienced, they don't know how to really understand their numbers or look at them, and they want to directly offer free shipping. The business has to understand what is its basket size. On average, what is their customer paying on their website? Is it $20 or is it $100? If it's a small amount of money, covering shipping costs and offering free delivery probably does not make a lot of sense. But it does start making sense when the customer is paying large basket sizes, and that means your profit margin would be able to cover this kind of cost. So it's a very good strategy if the business owner understands the logic behind it, and not just copying what he's seeing or what he or she is seeing other websites doing. They really need to understand their own economics of the costs that they are incurring, and how much they can cover of these shipping fees, and use it as a marketing technique.
I see. I think it's a very interesting point that I often see. Another point would be, I think you already mentioned it, but if you can mention like a couple of examples for it, it's the payment option, like how to use shipping to market the payment and so on. Can you give me like an example so that we can relate to it more?
Yeah. So like I always use this number, 80%, and apparently it's even higher. 80% of people prefer to buy using cash on delivery service, even though they have credit cards, even though there is penetration of credit cards. However, my understanding of it, the way that I see it, is the customer feels that he still has the power of accepting or rejecting the order when they opt for this option. And this has it's important that, and usually all delivery nowadays, all delivery companies, they give this option of cash on delivery. However, you will notice that as the business starts trusting the store that they are buying from, and even more recently, because of the economic crisis in Lebanon, there's lack of liquidity. So more and more customers are requiring payment by credit card. However, a lot of businesses don't have a credit card or don't have payment gateways, especially if they're not yet registered, etc. It's not an easy process to get a payment gateway online. So it's very useful to partner with a delivery company that can also offer credit card payments on delivery, and also use that as a marketing technique for the online store. Also, there are businesses that accept other kinds of payments, like checks on delivery. The more flexible you are with the customer, the more that you give the feeling of trust to them. Like they're able to trust that this business is not trying to just grab their money and go. So the more you offer this kind of flexibility in terms of payment terms, and And it's the delivery company that helps you offer these kinds, or supports in offering this kind of flexibility.
Cool. So another interesting point is that can be used, I guess, in sales and marketing is the delivery time. So if the user can decide on when I often see this on AliExpress and it's so I do have the option to have it delivered in like 2 days or 1 month or 3 months. Do you think this is a good tactic for which kind
It's an excellent tactic, but it's a nightmare for the delivery company. So basically, yes, you have to give the option to the, or it's important to give the option to the customer. And the way that we do it is we always promise that we contact the customer before going. Like it's not a surprise delivery that they're receiving, especially when it's an item that they need to check. So they need to be physically present to check it, or if it's a cash on delivery a transaction. But definitely this kind of also it plays into, and I'm sure we're going to touch on that. It plays into the experience that the customer is having with the delivery company. You cannot force on them a certain time where to receive the package. So definitely this, and I think one factor would be, for example, is, as I mentioned before, longer working hours. So a lot, it's when you give this kind of flexibility also, if you want to receive at night or if you want to receive on the weekend, so you don't get it at home, so you don't get it at work, for example. So all of these are extremely important, and they ensure recurrent customers when it's a good experience.
So basically, we're trying to give the customer all the options that he can have. So
yes.
As if he's buying from a physical store. He's talking
exactly.
all covered on the website.
As much as possible.
It's 3 days. I don't want to pay for shipping because I'm buying more than $50. Stuff like that can make the user journey for the guy very seamless, and he's gonna have a happy customer experience.
It encourages, yes.
In his buying process. Cool. Moving on to our second point, it's operations. So how can shipping affect my operations for my online store? I know that it's the bulk or easily it's half of the operations. So how can we optimize this process?
Yeah. So usually when a business owner is setting up an online store, they think of the branding, they think of the platform, and logistics is like the last thing they want to think about. Whereas it really is a very important factor of it, because at the end of the day, it's the part that the customer is actually physically seeing. So it's very important to know what it involves, what kind of issues that might arise in terms of the operation, and how can the online business make the job of the shipping company easier. And like from the basic thing that I can think of is just starting from the packaging of the items. So packaging is a very important factor, because usually retail businesses, they want to have the perfect package and the perfect bag, and they spend a lot of money sometimes on the packaging itself, and they expect that it's going to arrive in the exact same form to the customer. And this is something we try as much as possible to explain and like get the online business involved in what is actually happening on the ground. And in these cases, we usually recommend, for example, for the packaging to be durable, not to be easily wrinkled, to take into account that even if the drivers are being extremely careful, but at the end of the day, packages are placed together and they move from different, there are a lot of contact points before reaching the end customer. So the packaging itself has to take that into account. And in cases where the packaging is, for example, white or extremely easy, can get dirty easily, we, for example, recommend that it gets wrapped by another layer, for example. So this is one factor. And sometimes even it's important to also think of the size of the package itself and not go overboard with the branding part, and not think of being efficient in terms of the packaging.
What about the labels that we see on boxes? Like there's the arrow to up, so that you make sure that you have it this side.
Yeah, or yes. So that's important. Actually, it's not just these kinds of labels, but it's also very important to have some information on the package itself. So this is another thing that we notice as a business grows. So small businesses, when they start in terms of selling online, even when they hand over the packages to us, many times they're not even properly labeled, or you cannot identify which bag is to whom. And the business owners sometimes worry about adding any information on the packaging, just not to ruin it. It's a little bit different. We have to approach what the package looks like differently when it's not, at the end of the day, even though we're trying to replicate the experience of buying from a physical store, it's not like that. So it's important to have the needed information on the package that is helpful to the delivery company. Another thing that,
and a question that comes to mind is, what is the best way to, like, the package is the item, but it also has the receipt. It might have a couple of other documents. So personally, I have received packages where the box is damaged a bit and the receipt is a bit wrinkled, it's ruined. So also, I think, and this is a question that comes to mind. Sorry, I interrupted you. But how do you think businesses should manage this?
Yeah, so you're hitting on a very, and for me, one of the most critical, and I'm not saying we have all the answers to this. This is one of the things that we are learning as we go, and how to best approach it. Like, we're not a lot of the delivery companies repackage the packages themselves. Like, they do, they cover them with plastic bags, and they place different receipts on them. At Wakili, we don't do that. We just, we barcode everything, but we don't repackage. We believe that we need to maintain the actual shape of the package itself. For me, it's always the same answer, is managing the expectations. We inform the online stores that work with us, or the e-commerce businesses, what to expect. And when we see that the packages might be damaged from shipping, if the type of packaging might be damaged, we inform them, and we work together. We try to find a solution to that. And I think it's also important that the businesses also communicate that with their clients, with their customers. Also, I think it's very important for the delivery company to be responsible enough to say, when they damage a package themselves, that they are held accountable for that and take the needed action to resolve the issue, whether it's by replacing the item if it's damaged. And it's very important to mention that from the start and to communicate that from the beginning. Yeah.
I see. So the package needs to be structured in a way for it to stand in any way, and it should have respective labels, so that
yes,
a shipping company would understand how to transfer the item itself. And another point that also comes to mind is, I noticed that some delivery services or shipping services, they ask me to sign the paper when I receive it, and others don't.
Yeah.
And this is so confusing. Is there a reason why we are signing papers? Should we sign papers? Are they used? Are they not used? So what's up with that?
Yeah. So we get asked that a lot, and we also don't do this the traditional way. We are completely paperless from the beginning. We've decided to be paperless. So usually, like, I would understand a receipt for a letter or for a document to get signed, for like to sign a receipt note. But when the transaction includes a cash on delivery, for example, that alone is by itself a proof of delivery. And we also have the option of signing over the app. So the driver, when they reach the customer, they may require him or her to sign over the app in case the transaction does not have a cash on delivery, for example. So there is no physical proof that the delivery has taken place. And here, one of the things that we do is we ask the businesses that are working with us and using our service from the start if they require us to sign, if they require their customers to sign at every transaction. And usually, like 90% of the cases, it's not a requirement. It says it's required when it's more of the documentation, more than in terms of e-commerce. And I believe that cash on delivery on its own is proof enough that the item has been received. And plus, environmentally speaking, I think we're beyond paper receipts and filing them and etc.
Yes, I agree 100%. Just a question that always comes to mind.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing.
And I still freak out, when a business asks for paper receipts. We go through the process of explaining that yeah, it's we need to move forward.
I see. 100% agree with you. Let's move to the point on how to prepare orders. Um, so preparing orders internally is like, is there a certain method or way for us to prepare orders when receiving them in bulk, all at once, whenever a request is received? How should it happen in the most optimal way?
So this is from my experience from working with e-commerce businesses. Usually when it's a small business, I mean, it's easy to prepare a number of orders. Maybe as a small business, you receive 1 or 2 orders per day. So it's okay for whenever the order is there, you just prepare it on the spot, and then you request a pickup from the delivery company. However, as the frequency of orders grows, I think it starts making more sense to actually have like a schedule of when to prepare orders and when to create them in certain bulks. So for example, you can dedicate 2 hours per day towards the end of the day or towards the morning for preparing all the orders that were received previously and requesting 1 or at maximum 2 pickups per day from the delivery company. And
no,
sorry,
it's more cost effective.
It's more cost effective. It's more time effective. Yeah, it's for even for because the owner of the e-commerce business usually has several things happening at the same time. It's usually not their full-time job, and they're usually alone doing this. So it's one person until it starts. I mean, until the business starts growing. So I think it's important to take that into account. And even at some point, one thing that a lot of or like a good number of businesses we work with have actually outsourced even this part. So it might be something a business might want to consider, which is like storing their items somewhere, their stock somewhere else, and actually even outsourcing this part of the business. It's doable. It's not as hard as it sounds. It's easy to train people to do that, and to free up your time or the business owner's time to be focusing on things that drive more sales, or on the marketing, or on the actual products that they are getting, instead of spending time on filling orders.
I see. And there's a different, I guess, spectrum of items that one delivery company can manage versus another. For example, tell me about Wakilni. Like, what items can Wakilni deliver and what items cannot Wakilni deliver? Like, I don't know if Wakilni can deliver a sofa, for example.
Yeah.
So, what options do we have around that?
I think this is a small mistake that many of whenever a new startup in delivery launches, this is usually an issue where they advertise delivering everything. We deliver everything, food, non-food, large items, small items, flowers, cakes, etc. And most of us fall into this trap. And I think it's extremely important for the delivery company to really understand its capabilities, even though the capabilities may grow with time. So for example, for us, we have like today, we know, like when it's a business that requires direct express 30-minute deliveries of food items, we apologize, we cannot handle this kind of service. What we're focused on non-food items that are small in size. Our fleet is composed of small cars and motorcycles, and in the near future, we're not planning to change that. So we're limited to items that have a size of a meter and a half, for example. And by communicating this, again, we go back always to communicating expectations or the capabilities. We communicate this from the start to the businesses that we are working with, what our limitations are. And that's another thing for the store that is outsourcing their deliveries to a company, to really understand what their capabilities are, what they can handle or what not, and to really make it clear from the beginning what their items require. Do they require fast delivery? Do they require refrigeration, for example? Do they require extremely extra, are their items extremely flexible, fragile, and they need super care in their handling? The more that the e-commerce business explains about their product from the beginning, the better they can identify if the delivery company they're working with is a good match or not.
I see.
I think this is very important.
The breakdown, the delivery instructions are set by the customer themselves. So what should we expect from the customer to provide us with? I know that he provides an address, the country, but is it enough?
Yeah, and usually I think the trend is to take a lot of information from the customer at the sale. So when you're buying, when they place the sale, you ask them for the name, the number, the full address, etc. Personally, I think that it is easier for the customer that is making the sale. They want to finish fast. They're buying online. They don't want to provide a lot of information. They just want to provide the basic information. And I think we like to offer that to the e-commerce business, like just get the basic information. What area are they in? Their phone number, the name, and if they have any specific requirements for the delivery. The rest can be handled by the delivery company. And this reduces the friction that happens at the sales. And it reduces the time that the customer has to change his mind of making the sales. Is that it's going to take him time to place the order and then fill so many information. During that process, they might just change their mind and stop the sales. So from our end, we try to remain as flexible as possible. There's a basic information that we need to have in order in order to be able to reach the customer at least. But it's not a requirement to go into so many details.
So however, more details after the transaction is done.
Yes. Exactly. However, when we set up an account with a new business, so a new store is starting to deliver, I think at this point there's a lot of information that can be clarified in terms of the relationship between the e-commerce store and the delivery company that would reduce a lot of operational issues. And so at Wakilni, when we open a new account with the business, we go through an exhaustive list of questions that we ask the business to provide us with answers to, in order to avoid going back to them on every single transaction or every single operational issue that might arise. So we ask them things like, do you allow your customer to try the item before purchasing it? Can they open the bag and check the items inside? Do you accept payments and checks? So we have a list of questions of things that happened with us previously, and we use this information, we plug it into the system, we have it at hand with the driver, and this helps in making the operation smoother. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, 100%. Another question that comes to mind is, I want to ask this, are certain items more expensive to transfer than others? Because I noticed that maybe it's only if I'm transferring from one country to another, but locally as well.
Definitely, the size matters. For us, we don't charge differently for sizes. We try to. So again, traditionally speaking, when you think of shipping, and today, if you want to ship internationally, you have to provide information like length, width, height, weight, and the mass of the item. And for every single order you want to sell internationally, you have to go plug in these numbers and then get a shipping rate and then inform your customer of it. And we tried as Wakilni to really not go into that. We want to provide a very easy way for the online store to know what it costs him or her to ship this item. So we go with flat rates, or at maximum, we go at 2 rates, like within Beirut area or outside Beirut area, or just a flat rate. This really helps. So we're always thinking of it from the perspective of the e-commerce business. How can we help make their job easier? So they always have the rate. They know how to price everything. They don't need to come back to us to check every single rate. But of course, for us, it's different. It costs more to ship an item from here to Akkar than from Beirut to Ashrafiyya, for example. And it costs more. It takes a lot of, if the item is a little bit, if it's large, so we don't even differentiate between the sizes, but if it's large, it takes up more space and it costs basically more. We try to incorporate all these costs, and we try to, we've taken that into account in our pricing, but we prefer to give a single rate for that.
I got you. Another question that I have is, now it's all about the COVID-19 pandemic. How safe are the shipping services? So what precautions are being taken, and what's happening over there?
You know, يعني نحن when the whole COVID thing started, it was very difficult to decide whether we want to continue working or not. At some point, I even took the decision that we're going to stop. It was around Mother's Day, and I took the decision that we're going to work on Mother's Day. We're going to deliver everything for Mother's Day, but then afterwards, we're going to close the operation because I was extremely worried about the safety of the drivers. يعني I would get images of how يعني of the virus just spreading out of the deliveries. But then يعني I also realized that e-commerce is going to be extremely important during this period. Even though we're not delivering food, but we're also delivering essentials. And as the time of the lockdown increases, the definition of essentials also expands. So now it includes toys and pharmaceuticals and a wide range of items. So it was very important. We approached it in a different way. We started thinking of how can we operate safely. And so some of the precautions that we took are the basics of ensuring that the drivers are wearing masks at all times. We take their temperature readings in the morning and in the afternoon. We sanitize everything. We've also done schedules in the office. So we don't allow more than 2 drivers at the same time in the premises. So we've scheduled their entry time, and we've scheduled when they can come to the office. Even the back office team, so the people that are working in terms of operations from the back office, half of the team is working remotely, and we only have the basic team that is needed here. So we're trying to cover all our bases, but it's definitely been extremely يعني stressful, and you worry at the end of the day, and we keep very close.
Exactly.
We're monitoring them very closely.
No, I mean, as you said, e-commerce is one of the major go-tos right now to get your items received, and shipping services is the connection between the customer and the e-commerce business. Speaking of the customer, Yusur, how can shipping affect the customer experience? Because it's one of the major important aspects. So how can it be a killer, and how can it save my business?
It is, I think, one of the most important, because at the end of the day, the customer might only be seeing physically the driver, and if the driver acts in a good way or provides good customer service, then it's a way to buy again it's encouraging to buy again from the store. But if you had a negative delivery experience, it might be detrimental, and you might end up losing a customer, and not just losing a customer, like people, one negative review spreads to you tell 11 other people of your negative experience. So I think there's a lot of responsibility on the delivery company to ensure a good service, a good continuation of the service. Like, we know how much effort an online business puts in order to receive orders and to grow. So it's very important for the delivery company to understand that it has a role, and it's part of this. So we approach it in a way that it's a true partnership. We're true partners. We're part of the online business themselves, and we have a role in ensuring that they are receiving recurrent customers also. And so there are a lot of things that the delivery company can do to ensure this kind of good service. I'm going to give you some examples. So aside from what we already talked about, like flexibility in terms of delivery times, flexibility in terms of payment methods, also just visibility over the entire delivery process. So the more that it is visible, the delivery company is accessible, you can reach out to them, you can track where your driver is, you can contact the delivery company easily and receive feedback back. All of this is ensuring good service even after sales. Sometimes, even the drivers themselves, we work very much on the attitude of the drivers and how on their skills in terms of customer experience, how to handle different customers. This is very important in order to ensure good service. Yeah,
I see. One thing that comes to mind is you mentioned that to make the transaction process much faster, we're not going to ask them about their address in detail when checking out. So there is a communication happening afterwards. I guess this is most
Yeah.
probably happening over WhatsApp,
Yeah.
or the driver is calling him. What does he request? Because this is part of the experience, because the journey isn't done yet. So should he
Yeah.
send the location? Is that not appropriate? Is it appropriate? Do customers feel that it's too much? Do they get annoyed? What's your input around that?
Malik, can you just said it, is it too much? Is it not too much? And really, it depends. So every customer has his own expectation of what the experience is. Some customers want to get a call. Some customers complain if they don't get a call. Some believe that if they just place the order online, they should not have any contact with the drivers. And it's quite tricky. And the way that we handle it is once we receive a shipment, the customer usually receives an SMS message with a tracking link. So already they know that it's with the delivery company, it's on the way. And if they feel that there has been a delay or they want to get in touch, there's a very easy link that they can connect to us through it. And what we've done is for the drivers themselves, we have done it the method of communication is by WhatsApp, but it's through the app. So it's basically they receive a format of a message that is informing them that the delivery is on the way. So we try as much as possible to limit the communication in case the customer does not want a lot of communication, but at least they know that the package is on the way. Or if the driver requires more information, they also receive the same format of a message. And so it allows basically the customer the freedom as much as they want to have this kind of give and take with the driver. And the drivers, we train them to really understand the different nuances between customers who likes to, like there are certain tips we give the drivers on or how to read the cues from the customers and how to know how to handle different customers differently. And I think this is also important to pay attention to in order to ensure good customer service.
I see. So at this point, the customer is no longer speaking to the store; he is speaking to a kilni.
Exactly. This is part of exactly. This is part of. Sometimes this is a frustration to the online store. If they've done the sale and they've handed over the items to the delivery company, for them this is the end of it. They just want to know that the item has been delivered and the payment has been made, and that's it. What happens is if the delivery company is late, or if there is no clear communication channel between the customer and the delivery company, what happens is that the customer is going to go back to the store, and it's going to be bothersome for them. And it's okay when it's one customer or two, but not when you're sending out 100 packages per day, where you're receiving feedback on every, or you need to respond to delivery questions. So the more that you provide proper channels of communication and you're responsive with the customers, the less chance it is that they're going to go back to the e-commerce store that they bought from.
I see. So this goes back a lot to the tracking technology that is used today. Some solutions is an SMS that we receive sometimes, another is I don't know, maybe a WhatsApp message. So what options do we have to track the order?
So in general, like you might have no tracking, or it could be an SMS message. Usually it's an SMS message. In many cases also, if the store is operating over a website, automatically they receive an email from the website itself informing them that the package is on the way, or it's with the shipping company. However, the additional layer of or the extra mile that can happen is if the shipping company provides a tracking link. And honey, there are more details, like it could be just a tracking link informing you that the package is with the delivery company or on the way, etc. Or it could be as detailed as actually showing live feed on where the driver physically is with your package. So many technologies today exist, and for us, this is what we do. We send out an SMS message with a tracking link.
I see. And after can we? So is it? What I'm trying to say is, if the tracking link is no, never mind. I forgot the point. Any other points, Yusr, for customer experience on how to optimize it?
I think we've covered quite a lot. I'm not sure if you've received any questions that we can.
Yes. Now
Yeah.
let's scroll all the way up. We received a bunch of questions actually. Give me a second. Okay. Do Wakilni register companies in Lebanon on behalf of the client?
We don't, but we do offer one service. So aside from the fact that we do delivery services for businesses in general, we also offer a list of services in terms of support with some governmental transactions. The kind of services that we offer are listed on our website. One of them is the not registration of a company. This requires legal support. So if someone asks us for this, what we usually do is we recommend someone from the community that we know. We recommend one or two legal firms that are familiar with how to register specifically e-commerce businesses and what to focus on. And so this part requires legal support. What we can help with is registering with a trademark. So if you have a trademark of the brand itself, this we're able to do on behalf of the business.
I see. Yeah. Another question is, what is the range of delivery rates across Lebanon?
There's quite a big range. They can start from as low as $2 within Beirut or $2 within Tripoli. So within small cities, within the city itself can be as low as $2, and they can go as up as high as $10 or even in some cases more. I think an average would be anywhere between $4 to $5 is the average.
I see.
عم نحكي الدولار بس انه it's in Lebanese pounds يعني
1005 rate.
1005 rate.
Another question is, what is the risk of cash on delivery?
What is the risk? I'm not sure what is meant by risk. Is it the risk for the online business or is it the risk for the delivery company? For the online business, I think it would be a risk when they're pre-ordering things. So that's a very big pain that we see with a lot of e-commerce stores when someone places the order and they're only ordering from outside. So they're placing their orders based on the orders they receive. And if they don't have payment gateways and they don't have prepayments, what happens is if the customer cancels the order, they've already paid for it. That is a risk in terms of cash on delivery. And here the recommendation would be to always require or ask for a down payment on the order itself to make sure that the customer is serious about it and is not going to cause a last minute cancellation. As for the shipping company, it is definitely a risk in many factors, but it is also like for us, the way that we handle that is we cover it by insurance. So we have different kinds of insurance, cash in transit, fidelity insurance. So yeah, it is a little bit risky, but there's ways to mitigate it.
Nice. Another question we got is, latest research showed that the main reason for abandoning a shopping cart are high delivery rates, ease of returns, and loss of damage in transit. How can Wakilni help new websites in facing this experience?
Yeah, so definitely, yeah, that's something that we missed talking about returns, the return option. So one, in terms of high delivery fees, and we received this complaint we hear this complaint. I have two ways to mitigate that. One is you don't always have to charge your customer the full amount or to show them that you are charging them the full amount. So sometimes it is wise to, for example, if the delivery company is charging you $5 and you believe that a fair rate to charge the customer is $3, you've seen this around, like it's not a high number, then you look at the $2 and you either increase your price by $2 or $1 and then just consider the other dollar as part of your cost. So that's one way of doing that, breaking down the cost and distributing it. Another thing we've done as Wakilni is we've established something called the SME Booster Proposal. So we offer new businesses that have been established less than 3 months. We offer them with reduced rates. So we go as low as 5,000, 3.33, I think, dollars. And this is in support for the starting business in order to allow them to just kickstart their business. Second, it's important, or it's like one thing to think about for the online store is offering returns on items or exchange gives, it also supports in building trust with the customer, and it does improve the rate of having the customer not abandon the cart, because they feel that they can they can replace the item if it doesn't fit, if the size is not proper. And the delivery company, so one of the things, for example, that we offer is we offer 10-minute wait time at the customer's door. So if the business wants to allow the buyer to try on the items, and we have several shoe stores and clothing stores that offer the service, the try-on service. So the customer has the option to try it, and the driver waits for 10 minutes, and then they make up their mind if they want to take it or not. And there are businesses that charge for the service, and we recommend that they do charge. And there are businesses that offer this free of charge. So all of these are methods to encourage people not to abandon their carts.
If it's free of charge, is the business paying for it, or is it free for?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's definitely not free for the business. It's definitely paying for it. So it could either be a promotional period, so you consider it as a kind of a marketing cost, and that's why I said we recommend. I see this a lot with starting e-commerce businesses. They want to offer everything for free to their customers in order to encourage them. I really don't recommend this. You want to build a sustainable business from the start. Just understand what your costs are, understand how much you can offer the customer. And at the end, if you have a good product, you have a good quality of the product, this by itself is going to generate the sales for you.
Yes, I see. Another question, Yusr, is Wakilni a fulfillment supplier?
Yes, so we are considered a fulfillment supplier. We do offer, we're able to, or we already offer businesses shelving solutions, storage rooms. So we have small warehouses where a business can rent out something as small as a small shelf or an entire storage room. They can store their items here. We support them with the stock management. They're able to push their orders towards us, and it depends here if the business is running over an Instagram page or if it's running over a website. So if it's running over e-commerce, for example, they're able to integrate through the API that we have built together. It becomes very easy. With a push of a button, their orders are received at Wakilni, and here we assign what we call account managers that actually fill the orders. And we go into details, like if the business requires to see, some business owners want to see the packages, what they look like before they are shipped out. We also support them again to ensure that they feel safe that their items are being shipped in the way that they would have done it themselves. So we offer the service.
Cool. A new question we got is, I wanted to know what is the support you give from a company totally offline to start going online in this crisis?
Yeah, that's a very cool question. And we've also noticed that like this crisis has obviously driven a lot of people that were very iffy and not very sure if they want to go online, if it's worth it or not. I think this has pushed everyone over it has encouraged a lot of businesses to go online. And what we've done is we work with a lot of different partners, and we're actually currently working also with e-coms on an initiative called Imkan, which really targets offline retailers and supports them in going online by connecting them with the different entities that they need. So we connect them with the right or with the recommended marketing agencies that can help them go online. We connect them with the needed legal service providers, with the needed with e-coms, for example, to build their actual website. We even support them in terms of the manpower they need in order to move their stock or their items from offline, and how to digitize them, and how to take the pictures. And so we're able to support on the entire process of shifting a business from offline to online. And we don't do this alone. We do this with the different partners in the sphere.
I see. Another question is, my company is registered in Dubai, but I operate in Lebanon. Can I ship worldwide through Wakilni from Lebanon?
Yeah, so that's something we're extremely proud of. We have collaborated last year with DHL. And the way this collaboration works, there are two ways. So we can either connect the business directly to DHL and through our connection, they're able to receive extremely good rates from DHL because they're referred by Wakilni. Otherwise, they can also ship through us. So what we do is we do the pickups from their place, and we do the entire interaction with DHL. We do the entire process with them, and it's as if they're shipping within Lebanon. So this is definitely doable, and a lot of small businesses that were not previously shipping internationally are making use of the service. But what it does not include is cash on delivery. That's one thing that we cannot offer part of the international deliveries is cash on delivery.
I see. Okay. And over there, DHL rates apply.
Over there?
In this case, when you are connecting the shipping item with DHL, the rates applied are DHL's because
yes, they are DHL, and we apply a small handling fee because we're doing the entire we're covering the entire process. Yes.
I think we covered all of the questions. I want to mention to everyone that this session will be saved and will be posted on our IGTV. So anyone can access it at any time, and we can send anyone who would like a recap in email with the major bullet points, the outcomes of this session. So if you'd like to receive the recap, please DM us or DM Wakilni. We would love to send you a recap on what we have talked about. Yusuf, we've put together before today's session a game to see what people know about shipping, terminologies, and so to engage with the audience as much as possible. And we are giving away a prize to a winner who we chose randomly from the people who knew all the answers correctly. And the winner is Bois de Lune. It's a very cool Instagram store that sets up wooden purses and items. I think it's beautiful. So congratulations. I'm gonna DM you from the ecoms account after the session to tell you more about what the giveaway is. Another point also, Yusuf, one way ecoms is supporting businesses to launch an online store to overcome the COVID-19 pandemic is through a discount on the store setup cost, a 20% discount, and having us set up the store for the client within 3 business days so that they can launch as fast as possible. And we are offering them 3 months free subscription so that we try to decrease their costs as much as possible with this launch so that they get the ball rolling as fast as possible. And another point I'd like to mention is that we have a very cool integration with Wakilni, as you mentioned previously in the session, so that we make the process as seamless as possible for items to be delivered, to be packaged and delivered to the customers as soon as we receive an order from an online store, so that the store owner can worry less on the operations and logistics part of the whole process. Yes, sir, if you have anything else to mention, please go ahead.
Malcolm, thank you very much. I really admire what ecoms is doing and the role in helping build the e-commerce in Lebanon. I'm a very big believer in it. ويعطيكم العافية.
Thank you. That's it for today, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining.